When a young woman dies under unclear circumstances, the quality of the investigation matters. Not just what is concluded, but how quickly, by whom, and based on what assumptions. In Lauren Agee's case, the investigation was handled by the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office. This is a small department responsible for a large rural area, and they were tasked with determining whether Lauren's death was an accident, a suicide, or a homicide. From the beginning, the investigation leaned heavily towards one conclusion: accidental death. That conclusion shaped everything that followed. So within days of Lauren's death, authorities publicly stated that they did not believe foul play was involved. And this is important because once an investigation frames a death as accidental, certain forensic steps become optional, certain interviews become less rigorous, and certain questions stop being asked. And in Lauren's case, several key investigative steps were either limited or never done at all. There was no reenactment of a fall into the cove, no formal reconstruction of her final movements, no deep forensic analysis of the hammock setup, which in my opinion is a huge key factor to this, especially if they're going to rule her falling out, of course, and no comprehensive examination of how her body traveled to the cove, because as we know now, that travel does not make any sense. Instead, the accident theory was treated as self-evident here. But evidence should lead to conclusions, not the other way around. Another issue complicating the investigation was the location. So Center Hill Lake falls under overlapping jurisdictions: local county law enforcement, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and in some areas, state oversight. This overlap led to confusion about responsibility. So who was in charge of the death scene, the waterway, the campsite, and no single agency took full ownership of the case. And that matters because fragmented authority often leads to fragmented investigations as well. The area where Lauren slept, the cliff, the hammock, the surrounding ground, was not preserved as a crime scene. No extended perimeter was established. No controlled access was enforced. And by the time investigators examined the site, foot traffic had gone through, the hammock had been disturbed, and environmental conditions had changed as well. So this means potential evidence was lost, footprints were not documented, and timelines became harder to verify. So if Lauren had fallen, the scene itself should have told that story, but the scene was allowed to fade away before it could speak. Hannah Palmer, Aaron Lilly, and Krista weren't interviewed, of course, but those interviews were limited in scope. So there was no formal separation over extended periods, no follow-up interrogations when story shifted rather, and no forensic timeline built around their statements as well. Instead, their accounts were just largely accepted. As time passed, small inconsistencies emerged from their stories, including the order of events, the timing of sleep, Lauren's emotional state, and how intoxicated she really was. So each inconsistency alone may seem minor, but together they form a bizarre pattern, a pattern that deserved deeper examination.